Hey guys, hope everyone's well. It's MKS here with another video. As the title suggests, this is a story about how and why I'm an Italian football fan. I know I've mentioned some of this story before, so I apologize if I repeat any of this stuff. And maybe on the other hand, some people who watch this might not have watched the other videos. So anyhow, it all started a long time ago when I was about 12 or something like that. And I was sitting in the library at school library at high school, and with my Indian friend anyway. This girl sat near us, and my mates asked why he's sitting there, and she said, because I fancy this Italian guy. So after that, I thought I look Italian, so I started supporting Italy for everything at that time. So excuse me. So after a while, I decided to support Italy. And back then, I used to support Italy for everything. Nowadays, I only support them for the football. And I've talked before a bit about how this is quite a dilemma, because normally I'm quite an anti-imperialist. So I support, as I've talked about before, or tried to support at least, Asian and African nations and indigenous communities, what I've talked about before. So it's quite a dilemma, because Italy is quite an imperialist or prejudiced country. So, but I still support their football team. And sometimes I tell people I'm an Italian football fan. Once I'd often wear my Italian football kit when I'm Italian football tops. I mean, all that sort of stuff when I'm out. So my dad, or sometimes even my mum, but mainly my dad, says, "Oh, you should be careful where you wear that." Like, especially in England, like people like hooligans can try and attack you or whatever. So, but anyway, I normally wear my Italian top without really thinking, or Italian tops and all that, because I have quite a few of them. But it wasn't straight away. I made a decision to be an Italian fan, but after a while, I decided to be an Italian football fan. And my first tournament, which I really understood how the rules worked, was in '96. Ironically, was in England. The tournament was in England, Euro '96. For those who follow football, then probably know. You might remember it, unless they're too young. But yeah, so ironically, the tournament was in England, and I'm actually from England, but because I think I look Italian, and I didn't really know why. I thought maybe there's like a certain feature, but I think when I told someone that once when I was playing football in the park, they said, "Oh yeah, you're quite dark." So I mean, like, you've got a tan complexion, so probably I don't. Probably like I look like a lot of people from a lot of different countries, like Spain or Italy, Portugal, France. Turkey is another one that a lot of people say I look like I'm from. But because Italy have won 4 World Cups as well, and are one of the most successful teams in history, that's another reason why, when you combine those two things together, they've got a chance to become the most successful, and that's another reason why I support them. I was actually once in a park in Leicester where I live. I should probably, I'm not going to give my address away, but that's the city I live in anyway. But in a park, called Foss Park, and there's 2 Foss Parks. One's a shopping centre, and one's a park. But anyway, I was playing football there, and this guy, apparently from Brazil, and was from Brazil, and like last people said, "Oh, apparently I look like the Brazilian guy as well." But because I supported Italy first, I've always stuck to supporting Italy, even though there's lots of things about Italy I might not agree with, like, as I say, the prejudice. I can't even pronounce my words about them. Like the prejudice and things like that, racism and extremism, or like extreme right wing or groups like that. So there are things which I don't agree with. But in terms of football, I still always support Italy in the World Cup and European Cup, especially World Cup. And I want Italy to be the most successful team. So this is a bit about the story. Sorry if I'm a bit as ever I'm incoherent or whatever. So I go to the library and sometimes I record these videos quite late. So but it's like after midnight now. So anyway, but shouldn't make excuses perhaps. But so yeah, I think that's pretty much a lot of the story about how and why I'm an Italian football fan. Simply because I think I look Italian, and I suppose when I was first learning about like tournaments like the World Cup, like football tournaments, I didn't quite understand what they were about. I was quite naive about things, about the world and all that. So that's why the first team I supported was Italy, and then I just started supporting them. And yeah, so when I told someone I was an Italian fan, they said, "Oh, you must like really boring defensive football." But I'd actually love Italy to play more. I think defence is important, but I'd still love Italy to play more attacking, enterprising, as I call it, football, and go at teams and like score lots of goals, play entertaining football and stuff like that. Also win. I think the most important thing is to win, but then entertainment is a close second probably. Obviously, staying safe would actually be like if they go to a tournament or whatever. But one of the most important things, pretty much, other than being safe and all that, would be to win. And I dream for Italy to win the most and become the most successful footballing nation in history and all that sort of stuff. So both at club team level and at the national level. And I often think about and dream about like videos like this generate enough views so that and possibly getting advertising and encouraging sponsors to support Italian football, and therefore raising funds for Italian football so that I can buy all the people in Italy like footballs, help them practice. As I've talked about before, sorry if I'm repeating a lot of these ideas, but every Friday I try and talk about something to do with football and all that, just a cheery topic. Hopefully it's a bit of fun and all that. As I talked about before, like instead of just a charity work, but so I have a bias towards Italian football. Like I'd love to buy everyone footballs and in Italy, and especially football pitches, training equipment and stuff like that. Like I love former footballers like Roberto Baggio and Alessandro Nesta, Alessandro Del Piero, and players like that, Roberto Baggio, as I probably mentioned, to create their own centres, like the ones who used to be defenders, kind of create centres which keep alive the Italian art of defence. But then there could be midfielders who teach about how to play midfield, and there could be goalkeepers who set up their own centres, and there could be like tax cuts for investing in those centres and things like that. And obviously, as I say, strikers could invest in their own centres as well. And again, sorry if I'm repeating a lot of points, but I was saying, like I talked before about dyslexia awareness, and like it's normally in October, but because my birth month, as I say, is August and October, and also possibly on the 17th, which is Italy's Unification Day. I'd love to have events which showcase what my fellow dyslexics, what I myself and my fellow dyslexics can contribute to Italian football through our creativity and ideas. I'll say not just my own, but other dyslexic people as well, coming up with innovative ideas to improve Italian football as well, and also train with Italian football. And yeah, I'd love Italian football to be the most successful, but also like possibly the most entertaining, and like also as well as still keeping the strong defence, but also become the most attacking, like even possibly more attacking than teams like Brazil or Argentina, teams like I feel is possible, and like develop skill, and that kind of thing. But anyway, I often talk about like I love to have to go to Italy and share my ideas, as like some of them are quite secretive ideas, so I wouldn't want to. I don't know how many I should share on YouTube. But if I ever get a chance to go to Italy, like some of the football schools, and talk about my ideas and what I think would be great ways to develop young players to become great players, and things like that. Like also like encouraging developing younger players, playing attacking and attractive football, enterprising football, as I talked about, developing younger players, and also being the most successful and winning the most. Anyway, I was going to try and make it like a 12-minute long video, but I think I'm probably waffled on a lot. I might make some more videos on follow-up to this in the future for any points I might have forgotten, either tomorrow, Sunday, or next week, or whatnot. But anyway, have a good night. I'm probably going to go sleep now. I'm a bit tired. I didn't really do any writing, so I'm a bit disappointed in myself for not pushing myself to at least put some ideas on paper, but I couldn't motivate myself or decide what to write. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if so, and share it and all that good stuff as usual. Peace and love.